Welcome to Exempliphi. Thank you for stopping by. Before we get into it, I just want to talk about opinions for a second. So, opinions are malleable, and opinions are oftentimes temporary. We shouldn't exile somebody because they don't share the same opinion as us, okay? They may not have had the same upbringing, background, history. Maybe they don't know things we know. Maybe they know something we don't know. So instead of inciting a riot in the comments, let's actually have a discussion. If you don't agree with something that I said, try to change my mind. Tell me why I'm wrong rather than just telling me that I'm wrong and I'm a piece of shit or a piece of garbage or a piece of any other thing that is not very nice to be compared to. Instead of insulting one another, let's choose to educate each other. And above all, let's let this fucking flame war begin! First unpopular opinion is eating whole foods isn't as enjoyable or sustainable as other vegans might have you think. In fact, I think a lot of these vegan YouTubers don't even eat whole foods all the time. I'm sure a lot of them, as soon as they turn their camera off, go and eat a nice juicy Beyond Burger with some nice Daiya cheese on it. What a lot of these YouTubers don't take into account, and I don't blame them for it, and this is not an accusation or anything, but a lot of people aren't classically educated. So when it comes to things like nutrition and behavioral change, a lot of those things people get their information from either the internet or from whatever certification they have. And certifications are great. I have a couple of certifications. Get yourself as educated as you possibly can, but it's not the same as going to college for behavioral change, for psychology, or for nutrition. A big part of adopting a new diet is the psychological aspect, which people just do not take into account on YouTube. It's going to be psychologically harder for somebody who is not accustomed to a plant-based diet to switch over to whole foods immediately. There needs to be a transitional period where they're eating some of the processed stuff still, where they're still eating the substitutes in order for them to get accustomed to the plant-based lifestyle. And always preaching plant-based, whole foods, whole foods, whole foods, you're deterring people from wanting to adopt a vegan diet. Because when they think vegan, they associate it with, oh, I have to eat plants? I have to eat veggies all the time? Am I just gonna be eating grass? Am I gonna be grazing? Is that gonna be my diet? Yes, vegetables should be a part of everybody's diet, no matter what, but it's going to be a more palatable diet if you have some junk food with it. If you have some processed goodies to go along with your fruits and veggies. I also forgot to mention that these opinions are going to be going from what I consider least controversial to most controversial. So that was my least controversial, unpopular opinion. Let's move on to the next one, okay? It's only gonna get worse from here. My next unpopular vegan opinion is that veganism does not equal health, necessarily. So a lot of these whole foods vegans like to get upset at people that are vegan that eat junk food, or people that only eat pasta or only choose to eat potato chips or things like that. I've constantly heard it said that these people aren't representative of the vegan community because they aren't embodying the healthy aspect of the vegan lifestyle. Now that the plant-based community has grown and more people are adopting the vegan diet, there are going to be more and more ideologies that are going to be coming into the mainstream of veganism. And health might not be one of the reasons that you went vegan. Personally, I chose this lifestyle because I saw the documentary Cowspiracy, and I always considered myself to be somebody who's conscious of the environment, somebody that recycled, things like that, yada yada. You know the deal, okay? That's the reason I went vegan. I didn't necessarily go vegan for my health. So if I want to make a change, right, it's an ethical change, something bigger than me, and I want to eat junk food and enjoy the food while I do it, that shouldn't be an issue. A lot of vegans want to preserve this image of veganism that it's the most healthful diet and it's the one that's, the answer to all your problems. It's gonna cure all the diseases in the world. A whole foods vegan diet will remedy a lot of those issues, but if that's not your aim, then you shouldn't shame somebody into that kind of lifestyle. People shouldn't be beholden to eat according to your guidelines just because you think the healthful vegan is the only way a vegan should eat. There are healthy and unhealthy people of every dietary protocol. So suck it up and recognize that this movement is bigger than you. It's not unidimensional and it doesn't only have to do with health. If you want to preach health, listen, that's fine and dandy. I love that, okay? I like to preach health as well, okay? But you can't expect everybody to hop on the Whole Foods bandwagon immediately, okay? Enjoy your junk food, everybody. I know you enjoy your junk food. Nobody eats raw, plant-based all the time. Very few people do. I talked a little bit in the last point about ideologies and how more ideologies are coming into the fold now that veganism is becoming a bigger, broader topic of conversation and more people are adopting that kind of lifestyle. So let's get into the most controversial opinion of mine, okay? This is where I'm gonna lose a lot of you, okay? I might have had you in the first two. I might have said some things that you might have agreed with in the first two, but this last one is definitely something that I feel is exclusive to me. I have vegan friends, and in vegan circles, I haven't heard this talked about. But this is just my ideology, okay? And ideologies, let's take a second to talk about ideologies, right? You have a hierarchy of ideologies, right? So in my hierarchy, veganism is not at the top. Eating plant-based and preserving animal life is not at the top, okay? For me, protecting my friends and family, survival, that is at the top. So I am kind of a paranoid person, I guess you could say. I'm always thinking about, like, what if things go, what if things go horribly wrong, right? This world is run by men who constantly want to prove how big their wieners are, right? And they own most of the blowy uppy stuff. So if something happens, somebody presses that big red button, say by some miracle we survive, right? How are we going to continue to live and propagate in the future if we don't know how to cultivate our food or acquire food? All right, let's just get into it. Last point is, I don't think it's necessarily bad to hunt. I would actually like to learn how to hunt myself. This doesn't mean that I think everybody needs to hunt for all their food, or that they should even be eating meat on an everyday basis or on a frequent basis. I just believe that everybody should have the tools to be able to acquire their own food. To me, hunting is more humane than going out and getting your food from a faceless company. The meat that's in the grocery stores, it comes from animals that have been, pent up their whole life in captivity. They haven't been loved. They haven't had the chance to go out and find mates. They haven't had the chance to, live a proper life that, we've been allotted. Versus the animal in nature that might have lived a full life, might have got to, experience 1 or 2 breeding seasons, that to me seems more humane. And it gives you a more personal connection with the animal versus, going and buying a slab of meat that to you is just something that's to cook, rather than a whole entire being that you're using to sustain yourself. So if you're not uncomfortable by this point, I'm gonna go into even a little bit more detail on it, right? So the Okinawans, who are the longest living population on the earth, at least they were, I don't know if they still are, because I hear that they're adopting more of a Western diet, meaning eating more meat. But when they would only eat meat that was, the size of their palm per day, right? That's about 100 grams of meat per day. The average deer where I live in New Jersey is about 150 pounds. Now that's not taking into account, antlers and fur and things like that. So let's take all the inedible stuff away and say that it's just about 100 pounds, right? That is over 45,000 grams, okay? If I have 100 grams a day and I freeze that buck, that's gonna sustain me over a year, even if I'm feeding myself and a loved one. So no, I'm not saying that we should hunt these animals to extinction. I'm just saying we should get enough to sustain ourselves for the long haul and have enough information to where we can use it in an emergency situation. So those are my 3 most controversial opinions. I don't know if they're the most controversial, but they're definitely up there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you disagree with me, tell me why you disagree with me. If you agree with me, tell me why you agree with me. Don't just, shout and insult each other in the comments. Beyond that, also let me know what your unpopular opinions are about veganism, surrounding veganism, and let me know what you'd like to see in the next video, all right? I'll see you guys later. Thank you again for stopping by, and enjoy the rest of your day.